This video is brought to you by Hagel.
Hagel.
Hey guys, welcome back to the One Bit Podcast. As you can see, the setting has changed a little bit because I am packing to go to Asia. So by the time you see this, I'll probably be in Asia. So, and dying of heat.
It's actually going to be decent there.
Fam, this isn't water.
Yeah, hopefully I'll have fun. I'm excited a little bit. I'm gonna miss my system and being a hermit. But yeah, today's discussion is going to be around CDs, like the resurgence of CDs, and is it actually resurging, or is it just a hoax, cloud, smoke?
Yeah. And to be clear, this is going to be just a discussion we're having. We're not experts on this subject by any means.
No, I literally chat GPT last minute to get my information, so.
Yeah.
Full disclosure, not an expert at this.
Yeah, but as audiophiles, I think there's something interesting to discuss, which is not only is it really a resurgence, but why are CDs making a comeback? And you know me, man. Part of me has that big, like, SpongeBob grin right now because I've been using CDs for a while.
Yeah.
So to see people using them now, I'm like,
I knew it all along.
Come to the dark side.
Yeah,
but
I feel that.
Yeah. So where do you want to begin? Do you want to start off with the reasons why we think CDs have become more popular, or at least in vogue to talk about?
Yeah, well, let's first tackle statistics, right? Because I found some interesting things. Like, we were trying to search up, is it actually resurging, first of all, right? Yeah. And it's a mixed bag of statistics because some websites, put the numbers way up high, some others don't. But generally speaking, it seems to be anywhere from 1 to 3.3% increase in sales of CDs. Now, I thought, both you and I thought, okay, that's so little to call it a resurgence, right?
Yeah.
But then when I actually looked up the numbers, I have it here. It's like what, 12 million? So that 1% is like 12 million more sales. And physical formats in 2024 has been sold 2 billion. So out of that 2 billion, CDs account for 541 million.
Yep.
And so 1% of that is, I guess, around 12 million or something like that. And so that is quite a bit more sales.
Yeah.
So while the percentage seems smaller, and you have to also account for the fact that CDs, call it whatever, last gen, media format, whatever, considering that it's an older format, the fact that it's actually increasing and not decreasing is already, somewhat of a resurgence, right?
That's exactly it. It's the fact that it's on what seems to be at the very least a stable trend. But again, this depends on the numbers and who you're checking, because I also read a few sources that said, oh man, CD sales slumped 19%, at the beginning of this year versus the prior year. But then another source will contradict that and say, it went up 6%, not down 19.
Yeah, so, and I found that like the mixed bag information of statistics seems to be because like the local stores themselves report the increase or decrease in sales. So it depends on the local CD sales as well. But if you look at it in the whole, according to ChatGPT, it has increased overall about 1 to 3.3%. But again, don't quote me on that. It's just ChatGPT. But I think, that is quite a bit, again, the fact that it's increasing and not decreasing. But who do you think is buying? Who do you think is buying? Like, is it millennials? Is it audiophiles? Who do you think is, being involved in this kind of resurgence?
I'll be honest with you. I think it's mostly Gen X, millennials, maybe older millennials, boomer generation, people who grew up with CDs. And because, I haven't noticed, it's not that I talked to too many young Gen Zs or especially Gen Alphas, but I know that with the vinyl resurgence, you did see more young people that were into that, partially because you get this artwork that you can frame on the wall. There's a more tactile experience, kind of a unique experience. With CDs, though, I think it's coming from people who, again, they grew up with it and they're tired of the cost of brand new vinyl records, which are just crazy. On top of that, running a turntable setup is not cheap. You know that the records are going to, deteriorate over time at a fairly fast rate if you listen to a record often. And, while a lot of people are drawn to the ritual, a lot of people aren't. A lot of people don't want that ritual, but they still want physical media. So whether it's the idea of I'm supporting the artist, because most people by now know that streaming gives the artist next to no money. But when you buy physical media, at least they get a little bit more. You have something that's physical. You do have something that's tactile. CD players are cheap. Or not. I mean, even outside of or even inside the audiophile world, a couple $100 can buy you a really good brand new CD player. And if you're not an audiophile and you just want to go and get something that's like 25 or $50 somewhere, you can. So I think it's just a less expensive way to enjoy physical media, something that you actually own, that's yours once you buy it.
Yeah, I think I'm a millennial, but I'm the last generation.
We're like the opposite ends of millennial, basically.
Yeah, I am like the youngest millennial there is, quite literally, right?
Yeah, and I'm the almost the oldest.
Yeah, so like I'm borderline like Gen Z, right? A lot of my friends are Gen Z. Like you're younger than me, you're Gen Z. So so I'm like an interesting place. But I remember growing up with CDs, and a lot of my millennial friends, like older millennials, I should say, they seem to be kind of also going back to that CD as well, and it's about that nostalgia factor as well. And mind you, like I still, when I was little, we still put CDs in cars. We still had CD players built into the cars and stuff like that. Good old times. We would have those like little pouches on top of the car, where you take out and you have a bunch of CDs. So I went through all that. So for me, I mean, I've been playing CDs for the longest time. I have a whole I have it right here. I have a whole thing of CD collection here.
Your room's so dark, I can't see it.
I know, it's so dark. The reason it's so dark is because I removed all the lights for the trip, right, that I need. Yeah. So now I have just selected number of lights. I have to like crank up my ISO on the camera and stuff.
And the camera I'm seeing you through is completely black. So it's just a face emerging from the darkness.
Yeah, I'm going to have to do some finessing in the post edit. So thumbs up if it looks any decent on the other end. But anyways, I think it's that nostalgia factor as well. So we have this both kind of spectrum where we have the Gen Z that is getting into CDs more because there's more kind of value with that physical media asset kind of feeling, right? To own something that has a nice artwork, that looks nice, that they can keep for themselves, especially if they're a big fan of certain artists like Taylor Swift, or I don't know what Gen Zs listen to these days, but stuff like that, right? Or K-pop as well.
I was about to say, you mentioned something like K-pop
Korea with the K-pop scene. I know that they come up with like limited edition, like anniversary editions, and like fan base editions, and bunch of editions, right? And so and it's actually priced quite high for those limited editions as well. So it has like almost like a collectible value, and I think that's kind of attractive to the Gen Z generation. And correct me if I'm wrong. If you're Gen Z and I'm totally getting it off, then comment below. But and then so you have that group of Gen Zs that's coming in going, oh, CDs are cool again. And then you have the millennials like myself that grew up with CDs and that are nostalgic towards CDs, getting back into it. And like you mentioned, I think it's far easier entry to physical format than vinyl. Yeah. Right? Because let's face it, like a lot of my friends actually like Tujin. If you guys remember Tujin, he's definitely Gen Z. He's younger than me. And, he bought I remember like a project turntable or something like that, very, entry level turntable with a built-in phono. And I remember him telling me he just can't stand the background noise. Right? So to a lot of people that grew up with vinyl, that kind of background noise could be tolerable, and even for myself, like I when you get to a higher end turntable, then the noise floor drops, and it's very much what we experience as audiophiles. But with budget turntables with built-in phonos and stuff, you guys know you can hear quite audibly,
the hiss, the pops,
the background noise, and I feel like a lot of younger generation cannot tolerate that. They're like, why would I want that?
Yeah.
So with that, CD is more preferred because it doesn't have that kind of background noise and stuff like that. And then there's portable CD players these days, and I see on my Facebook being recommended to me like these like very cheap $50 portable ones that looks pretty nice, and it's clearly targeted towards the younger generation because it has like very vibrant colors like yellow and like pink and all that kind of stuff, right? And like it's like $50 and it looks nice, and it's a headphone jack and stuff. So I feel like the portability aspect also is is somewhat of a factor, I would say, some. And so I think that these two generations coming into this, I think that kind of makes up for the so-called resurgence of the extra 12 million sales, I think.
Yeah, and I think for audiophiles, okay, I'm just going to be blunt.
Yeah.
I think audiophiles have realized that, oh my God, CDs may actually sound better than streaming.
I mean,
now, to be fair, we're talking about like almost like a 1-for-1 deal. Like you take a $500 streamer and a $500 generic CD player. CD should sound a little bit better. Is it going to be a big enough difference to sacrifice the convenience of streaming? Well, that's up to you. But I think even the most ardent streaming supporters have said outright, it's like, yeah, a really good CD player, transport, and DAC setup is pretty tough to beat for what it does. And me, one of the jokes I'd make whenever I see a very expensive stereo system that's fronted by a streamer, nothing else but a streamer, I just get like, oh my God, that's like getting a really, really expensive and nice sports car, but then putting the cheapest tires that you could possibly put on it. It almost defeats the point. It's like, dude, you listen to music how you want to, as long as you enjoy it. But gosh, man, it's like the very source, the very start of the signal chain, you've compromised in a irreparable way. There's nothing you can do.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I'm not sure how much of that is, audiophiles getting back into CDs or finding like, oh, CDs sound more, better than streaming. I'm not sure at what percentage of those, sales or resurgence.
12 million additional people. Probably not the biggest amount, but you still see that in our business. I mean, for example, just speaking bluntly here, a lot of videos about CDs get crazy views, which is why a lot of content.
Not to mention these companies like Shenling, they wouldn't be making CD players if they didn't see monetization value in it, right? If they didn't see profit.
Well, they were kind of, frankly, with Shenling, they were kind of lucky.
Yeah.
Because they were already making these products.
Right.
They were making these products well before CDs became popular again. They would still have those products out. It's just now that there's a boon and they've seen the success of like Moondrop and all that other stuff. Now they're emulating those kind of products.
Did Moondrop drop it first, pun intended?
I don't know, but yeah, man. I mean, it's cool to see though, and the truth of the matter is, there's a lot of really good CD players out there too. You don't have to spend a hell of a lot of money on them to get genuinely good sound. And even if you're an audiophile, speaking of Shanling, I mean, they have a CD player, right, and even an SA CD player for around $1,000, give or take. Yeah, it's really good.
No, not even like under 1,000, like it's like few $100, like $300 for some of them, right? Yeah. Like the reason I asked if Moondrop dropped it first is because when I reviewed the ET3 CD transport, right? And then the portable CD player, that the one with the tube, and after I reviewed that, I was like, this is such a great idea. And then I go online, and then I see Moondrop has a similar thing. All these portable CD players from Theo, like there's like so many. There's so many. And I was like, I still stand by the fact that the Shenling, I think, is an excellent idea because it has an R2R DAC and a tube in there, which you know me. But I was like, this has to be real. Like the resurgence has to be real because like all these products wouldn't be out if the companies didn't do their due diligence of researching the market. And I think, out of the 12 million, even if like less than 1 million, like let's say 500K people are audiophiles or somewhat, dedicated setups, I mean, that's that's a huge amount of people
Yeah.
in our industry. So
Yeah. Yeah. And I think those affordable CD transports, like even the battery powered ones and whatnot, I think that goes beyond just strictly the audiophile demographic, or at least the hardcore audiophile demographic,
yeah.
because they look cool. They're made out of metal. Seems like they function all right. They probably sound good enough. The anti-jitter or whatever technology, when you move it around, is good enough.
It's really, it's more than good enough. Like I was trying to make a skip. Like in the video, I literally shake it the hardest I can up and down, and it does not skip, not one bit. You don't hear any problem whatsoever. So that's quite impressive. I'm not sure about the other ones, but at least with the Shenling. But I think, do you think it's a good thing for CDs to be coming back, or do you think it's gonna? I mean, or do you think it's gonna last? Is, I think, the better question to ask.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good thing, of course, but whether or not it's something that's going to last, I don't know. I mean, I think as long as CDs remain affordable in the used market, there's going to be a draw to it. Because CDs, the price of everything has gone up, especially this year. But used CD prices, especially when you go to like your record store and whatnot, they're still reasonable, especially compared to vinyl records.
Yeah, but if we talk about physical format or the cost of media, right?
Yeah.
There's still streaming that needs to be, so-called beat, and it's hard to beat streaming.
No, you're not going to beat streaming.
Exactly.
Period. Like that's
cost.
Yeah, there's no going back from that in terms of the main dominant way that people enjoy their media. But I do think that as people experience CDs and as they experience the ownership of physical media, some people will like it. Some people will get tired of having stuff in their space. But I think it's going to be consistent, kind of like vinyl. Remember when the resurgence for vinyl started in like the early 2000 teens.
Yeah.
And it was at the time like millennials, people my age or older millennials, that was really kind of behind it. The whole hipster generation and wanting to be a little different. And you're streaming your music. Oh, that's cute. I got vinyl records. And for a while, everyone kind of thought, it's just going to be a fad. It's cool. It's great to see at the time, people my age were young, but it's cool to see young people into it. Great, but it's going to go away any moment now. And it didn't. It actually remained pretty consistent for a long, long time. Now, vinyl sales are starting to slow down, but I mean, that's over 10 years of fairly decent sales. I mean, most artists, even mainstream artists, when they release a new album, they release it on vinyl. So it's significant enough for them to make that investment.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be around for a little while. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's a curious thought because I do have plans to visit, like, the Tokyo Record Tower, because I'll be going to Japan as well for my last stop in Asia. So it'll be an interesting thing to check out. But as far as where I live in Canada, right, even in like central Toronto, there's very little record stores or CD stores that you can go and buy. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are still stores, but the prices are a little bit like, I feel like personally for me, when I went record shopping, back in when Sean's talking about the hipster age with millennials, I was like this little boy, but early on I got inherited a music collection, like the records I still have from my grandfather and and my mother. And I didn't have a turntable. I didn't even know how to set all that stuff up. So this is like before me being, anywhere close to being an audiophile. So I remember like still buying records, but when I would go to these stores, the beauty of it was finding something that I liked for what I thought was good value, right? Finding the gem in the pool of used records or even new records. But I feel like I went there like few weeks ago with a friend, and the prices are just almost borderline unreasonable. Like these stores clearly know the value, so they clean it up and package it nicely. And for example, like a Beatles collection was like what was it, 1,200 Canadian.
Jeez.
They were asking for. Now it was a full collection, which is valuable, but still, and that was the mono, right? The mono version. I'm like, I'm not even a huge Beatles fan, so I'm not gonna be buying that kind of stuff. That's not I'm not their customer. But just seeing that, I was already turned off entering the store because I was like, yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna find anything here that I'm gonna like, right? It was a similar situation when I went to LA and went to that record store. It was a Sunrise record store or something like that, the one in Hollywood. It's one of the biggest ones in North America, apparently. But when I went there, I bought a bunch of records, and some of them were reasonably priced, but there were clearly the ones that they had it, up high, locked up and stuff like that. Those were, all fairly expensive, above market price, I would say, if you were to go on the used market and buy it yourself, right? So I think definitely, the price is an issue with that kind of thing. And I'm wondering if that's going to also be the case with CDs, later on, right? Because I'm already seeing in the K-pop scene or whatever, like there are some, like, I'm a big fan of Nerd Connection, right? Now that's not K-pop at all, but it is still a Korean, band, rock band, R&B band, whatever you want to call it. I really like that band. And me just buying their CDs because I love it so much, I paid like, what is it, $40, $50 a pop?
Oh, wow.
Right?
Yeah.
Mind you, Canadian dollars, but like it's up there. It's good quality though, but it's up there. And then there is a CD that we're trying to come up with. By the way, Sanj. So Vincent Belanger, the Sanj project that I'm doing, the classical music, we are going to Korea. Vincent's going to be also there to launch the Sanj project. And so locally, we're trying to figure out the pricing for a limited edition for Asia, the Asian market. Because we're doing a little tweaks for the Asian market. But anyways, and we were trying to figure out pricing, and all the pricing in the beginning, we were like, because we were going for audiophile quality CD production, and the cost of these audiophile CD manufacturing cost quite a bit. So the cost was up. So we were like kind of pulling our hair, going like, oh, we want to be competitive. We want to have it around attractive price point. So we were researching the Asian market for classical music around a similar kind of quality range. $60 a pop, easily, not even limited edition. $60 a pop. So the prices are already up there for a certain kind of production. So the question is it gonna bring down the sales of CDs overall as prices increase for these like limited editions, which is the attraction for the Gen Z generation, right? I don't know about the millennials. I think millennials like myself, like I'm gonna play CDs until I die, I think, But there are certainly those that's following the trend rather than getting into it and being serious about it, right? So how many people stay versus leave because they're detracted by the off-putting prices, all that kind of stuff could put the CD sales down, and the whole resurgence could be just a little time lapse, time sensitive thing.
Yeah. I mean, the price has definitely gone up. I mean, as you note, there's limited edition or special edition releases, and I noticed that they're not cheap, man. They're $29.99 or something like that. I mean, basically the same price as a vinyl record, or at least around the same ballpark. And then even the price of regular CDs are like $16.99, $19.99. Here's the thing, though. I've never been on the production side of it, so I don't know how much money it costs to bring a CD to market, let alone on any kind of meaningful scale. So that's a data point I don't have. So, but the interesting thing is I'm just old enough to remember the price of CDs at these major like music stores back in the late 90s and early 2000s. And the honest to God truth is they were just as expensive then as they are now. Yeah. All those decades later, there was actually a time when CDs got a lot cheaper than they were in the late 90s and early 2000s, where it was normal to pay $20 for the latest like hip hop album or whatever. Right. Yeah. So I think we did get a little bit spoiled over the past literal 2 decades of fairly low prices. So it could be nothing more than this is just how the market is. The market now finds value in it, and thus and that combined with other factors of things just being more expensive now, it's more expensive. But the main thing is I'm curious more about used prices and if those are going to remain relatively approachable for CDs for somebody who, wants to go to a record store and sift through, the used bin. But yeah, it's very fascinating. Oh, before I forget, I need to make it clear. This video almost made it sound like I was against vinyl. It just now dawned on me that I'm anti-vinyl. It's like, no, not at all, dude. I love vinyl. No. It's just there are some practical benefits to compact discs. From,
of course.
Storage to accessibility, the ease of use, all that good stuff.
Also, I was going to say, you mentioned quality differences in production. That's something I'm going to probably be covering when I go to Japan.
Okay.
Because I think that's where it's going to be manufactured. So I think I do have a chance to ask the question: what is the what is the quality difference? I mean, these are the questions I'm going to have to ask anyways, because we're going to have choices of level of manufacturing and the cost associated with that, right? A tier, B tier, C tier, and so on. But so that's going to be interesting. But I do think that CDs in general, they do vary quite a bit in terms of quality. So I mean, just by looking at it, I'm not an expert, but just looking at the different CDs I have, some of them are clearly cheaper in build quality than the others. But I think it's very interesting topic. I would be curious as to what you guys think as well in the comment section. Is why is CD coming back? And do you find CDs to be a better physical format choice opposed to streaming or vinyl, on your own system, right?
Or do you just listen to everything?
Yeah, I personally listen to everything, right? Yeah. But I do have to say though, I play CDs quite more than vinyl in the last month or so.
Okay.
Yeah. Because just because it's just easier. Like I'm packing up for traveling and stuff like that, and it's just easier to throw on a CD.
Put disc in tray, close tray.
Yeah, it's just so much easier. Because like I almost feel like the vinyl when I play turntables, it's like almost a ritual, right? I have to prepare myself. I sit down, grab a cup of coffee or whatever, and all that kind of stuff. CD is like as I'm packing, I'll throw on a CD. Right? I could easily do that with streaming too, but again, CDs sound better. So.
Yep.
Yeah. So,
all right.
Is there anything else that you would add?
Say. No, I think we've said just about all we can say.
All right. So this was it for this One Bit podcast, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Until next time.
Peace.
We're driving cars on a Mars tonight. We're blasting